A decade ago, two founders set out to solve a growing challenge in IT, impacting MSPs and MSSPs. How to keep up with endless assets, sprawling systems, changing configurations, and fragmented tools. The result was Liongard. Today, Liongard isn't just turning 10, it's turning the page. With the launch of LiongardIQ, a bold new platform experience built for real-time action, infrastructure hardening, and operational clarity, the company is taking its biggest leap yet. We are sitting down with Joe Alapat and Vincent Tran, the founders of Liongard, to look back on what's changed, what stayed the same, and what it takes to build a company that never stopped evolving. Let me just start with congratulating 10 years of Liongard.
Decade. Yeah, it's been quite a while.
Yeah, right? So let's talk about this moment. You just announced LiongardIQ is coming July 2025. What does this moment mean for you as founders and for Liongard as a company?
Why has it taken so long, Vin? Why?
All good things come in a couple of time. Yeah, take some time.
It's what, 10 years to build good software, right? That's the cliche. We're here.
Yeah.
It's finally good, folks. Just kidding. It's been good. It's just getting better and better.
Yeah. I think we've been laying the foundation for and having the technology catch up with us. I think it started with being able to capture that information and creating the digital twin of IT systems, but then ultimately being able to build insight on top of those and connecting the dots for our customers. I think that is where we're at now, and with the technology. We used to be ML, and now it's a real AI, and getting there. So it's exciting.
Right.
Yeah, I think we got lucky. You always do with companies over time, where the technology advancements, like on Gen AI specifically, it was built for our Liongard's use case, which is having time-stamped, labeled data that needs to be mashed together into a data lake, and then ultimately leveraged to drive context for AI. I mean, this is what generative AI is built for, and we just happen to have all of this insight. And our customers have always told us, "You guys have all the data," and there's always this hand waving, like, just make it easy. And we've always been like, how do we do that? And how do you build a UI on such an immense amount of data that exists on infrastructure? And we now have some UI, AI, all kinds of advancements that have largely positioned us to launch LiongardIQ, and I'm like geared up. Like, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's interesting because just looking back 10 years, I mean, at that time, that's when JSON APIs and REST APIs were actually becoming more of the norm, and we recognized that, hey, now I can pull data from all these systems. And before everything was entrenched, right, in siloed systems. But then as people started opening up their APIs, kind of rode that wave, and now we're collecting that information and processing it. It's really great to be able to leverage that information and help our partners. It's yeah.
I mean, this is Liongard you've never seen. Honestly, I think anyone who logs in that is a current partner, or those that have looked at Liongard before, it's a whole new story, and it's that's why I'm kind of tingly. I'm waiting for us to unwrap it and show it off, because it's a accessible UI. It's an experience that's simpler, easier to understand, ultimately to get to insight, to drive to an action that you want to take.
Yeah, right.
Ultimately, that's what we've wanted to do, and that's been the mission. It's been about demystifying cyber.
Right.
And I feel like we're, after 10 years, it's like, okay, how do we make it easier and easier? And we're really turning a corner here.
That's right. 10 years to build good software. That means 10 years to make it simpler.
Yeah.
It does take time. It does take time to figure out that what are the things that we can connect across those systems. I mean, we brought it all in. It's tons and tons of data, but how do you make it easy and simple for the customer to use?
Right.
And that's been challenging. But I think we found our niche. I think we found
to wrap it all up, it goes back to the simple message: you cannot manage or protect what you do not know. And when we come to that kind of messaging, which is a lot simpler, to state as a problem than what we used to say 10 years ago. But the reality is the problem still exists. Every IT and security operation is managing and protecting infrastructure and assets that they just don't have a full knowledge on. And when you hear about Excel, outdated documentation, you hear about inventories managed in configuration management databases that are wholly out of date. Guys, it's 2025, guys and gals. Like, let's go.
Right.
Like, we've got to have a cyber asset inventory. It cannot be this grandpa's old asset inventory where, we're operating from 1980s.
Of course.
It's time to live in the future.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a real shift happening here from being known for documentation to launching something that feels like a whole new platform. Why now? What made this the right time to reintroduce Liongard to the world?
Well, if you look at the news and all you hear about is AI, that's one in terms of underlying the technology shift that's happened. If you are a software company or technology company right now, you need to figure out how to leverage it. But underneath the hood, what we realized over time is if we're being really critical about us as founders, I feel strongly that a lot of times we built this system that was almost geared towards the PhD of configuration management, where we looked deeply at the configurations and systems. And what we found is that our providers and the challenges that are faced were actually, I'll go on that journey, but the issue is I don't even know what I'm managing and protecting. Can you just tell me the assets first? And then I can go on the journey. And we heard some of those signs. And so what I jokingly say is we've now built the table of contents for this more advanced configuration capability that we have that really differentiates what Liongard can do, or we can deeply inspect systems and assets and see, hey, is MFA enabled? Did it drift? Did it change? But outside of that, I just need to know the users. I just need to know the identities involved. I just need to know the assets. I need to know if a new one showed up. And those are the things that can prompt you into action. And it can also be the thing that allows you as a service desk individual or someone who's just trying to understand an environment to simply go to the UI and just type in Bob's PC, hit enter, and to just go, oh, there it is. Okay, click, and have an experience that feels more natural. And it's time for that. It's time for simplicity.
Definitely agree. It's all about the experience. And if you think about AI, we're riding that wave, right? AI is a different type of UI. It's a different type of UX. And I think that the smarter platforms and smarter systems are going to recognize that you're going to have to push data to folks. Before, when we built the automated documentation type of platform, you had to go in there, like you said, you had to have a PhD, you had to figure out how to get that information out. And so how do we simplify it so that it goes to you, it pushes to you? How do you get that information in the hands of the actual end users? And that's the second thing that we learned was that there's more folks at the MSP, different personas that need this information more than the technical engineer that's trying to troubleshoot something. It's the account manager, it's the CEO that needs to get this information before something happens, right? To democratize it across all the folks that are not also non-technical, right? But they need this information to be able to support their end customers well. And AI does let us do that. AI takes the information, processes it, and says, this is what's important from this asset. And so it's not someone that has to go through and dig for the specific things to have a degree, have to be a CIO or a CTO or CISO, to really understand how to protect our customers. And I think it's super important. That's the opportunity that we have with AI to get that information in front of people very quickly.
And I think there's a threefold play on words with AI. There's artificial intelligence, but then that's built on top of asset intelligence, which is built on asset inventory. So there's a lot of AIs that we're talking about here, but generally we've been talking about the artificial intelligence, but when you base it on top of this level of context, asset context, when the operator has that, when the XDR platform has that, when all of this is unified, so left of boom and right of boom, we're operating in alignment. Really the threat actor and unexpected mistakes, they go down dramatically. And that's so critical that should be the case. And what we're finding is when we went to market, we targeted really servicing the MSPs.
Right.
And when we looked up, we realized, wait a second, those MSPs are actually MSPs converged with MSSP operations. We've actually got MSSPs. We've got SIs, system integrators, and then they're all exposing it to their end customer when it's a larger end customer. So we've got all these various users and personas, as Vincent is saying, that it's bubbling out into this huge universe, which we love, but it makes the challenge of simplicity even harder because you really have to take it down and say, okay, how do I get this down to the basic, simple navigation? Actually, I don't even want to go to a menu. Can I just tell you what movie I want to watch? This is Kramer from Seinfeld, right? It's like, that whole concept is, can I just type it in real quick? Why do I have to even go to a menu option?
Yeah. Sometimes less is more, right?
Less is more. I love it. I love that you said that.
Right.
Yeah. And
live by
just
that
kind of building on the persona thing. I mean, there was a CISO that shared with me a long time ago. It says your best resources within an organization are your people.
Right.
And it's not just technical people. It's the entire organization that can recognize something that's phishing. They can recognize that something is a security issue, right? But like if you're able to get that information in front of them as well, they can be a part of the defense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I love that you brought up CISOs, because when you think about the Chief Information Security Officer role, one of the things I love to talk about is when a new CISO shows up, everyone asks, and it might be that they showed up after a data breach happened and there's some improvements required. Every reputable CISO says the same thing. They say, hey, what are you going to do? It's going to take a lot of blocking and tackling. And what that means is that you really have to get down to the basics. You have to know your assets. You got to configure them well. You've got to patch those vulnerabilities. And, it's a lot of hard work, and no one wants to hear that. But the reality is, this is the job of good IT and security practitioners. It's to keep the shields up. It's about resilience. It's not about this sexy business of chasing the threat actor that you need to obsess on. You need to put the shields up first, and then you need to then monitor for that threat actor. And really only the advanced threat actors should get through so that you can then detect and respond. But please, not the lightweights, not just the silly situations. We can't have that.
Yeah, my favorite line from another CISO is the worst time to discover a new asset in your environment is during an incident. So you gotta make sure that's in place.
I could go even one further, and we've seen this with some of our when Liongard was put in, where an incident was resolved, and then they're like, oh my God, there's an account that we don't know about, and they can clearly see it was the threat actor still in the house.
Still in the house. Wow.
And those are the kinds of situations where you're like, whoa. Like it makes you just feel sick in the stomach.
Yeah.
Because we've been there, and everyone who's operated long enough, you will be in an incident, and you get weak in the knees, you get a sick feeling in your stomach. I never want to be there again. Like I never want to live in that zone, and that's a big part of what drives us. We don't want anybody to live there. We want them running that place like a fridge, so the business can go off and do what they meant to do, not chase threat actors, but to conduct business.
Right. That's where Liongard comes in, right?
There you go.
Okay. So let's talk about a little bit about the origin and evolution of Liongard. So let's rewind. What problem were you trying to solve when Liongard first started?
Well, the first problem was we didn't want to lose hair. He doesn't like to talk about his receding hairline, but I lost most of my hair running that previous business, it was an MSP, system integrator, MSSP. We did a little bit of everything, and we were trying to get to the bottom of why was it so difficult? Like, why did this have to be so hard? We couldn't hire enough smart people. And so we thought, wow, what if we could enable the less, the non-wizards, the mere mortals? What if we could enable them to actually have the knowledge and the ability to operate in these environments? And so we were picking away at that. And then what we noticed is that the worst situation was the concept of the data breach. So one of the earliest use cases we said was, we are going to predict where a data breach is going to happen. And we'll identify it so that you can get ahead of it. All right, we called it pre-breach. We had all these things we triangulated on this concept of this attack surface. Right. And unfortunately, it was like 2015, 2016, 2017. And we kept messaging on it, and people were like, I kind of get it. But the whole concept of the attack surface wasn't really a mainstream
It was a cyber kill chain at the time. It was more linear.
Yeah,
you were trying to break
cyber
through
kill
the
chain.
perimeter.
That's
and
true.
not necessarily a surface area, because the cloud was being adopted, and so it was creating a lot more surface area.
Which is like one of the precursors to like MITRE's attack framework, which actually shows you all of the different ways that an attack actually gets conducted. And we said, well, what if you could observe all of that infrastructure in a way that you could set it up properly, not just also to protect against a breach, but just mishaps. Flipping a bit on a weekend, it happens. Monday morning rolls around, and the service desk is dealing with inbound calls, saying, "Hey, something's down," and you find out, oh my God, someone made a change on the firewall on the weekend, and you're just like, oh, not again. But why? Like, why does this happen? It's because we don't really, it's a bad process. But behind it, if you could just know, if I had known that a change had happened, I could have got to the bottom of that instantaneously. And those are the things that we were picking on to go, why isn't that possible? Why can't you have one place where you can see what's happening in the infrastructure without even having to log in? Why is that not possible? It was happening with SIMs, with log data, where it was getting aggregated. So we said, what if we could build the equivalent of a SIM, which is right of boom, aggregating all log data, but what if we could do it on the asset and the configuration data? And what if that could all be, and we used to call it the Universal Management Database, the UMDB. We had come up with all kinds of names for it. But that's early on what we started to theorize about. And that's when we started going to market. And that's where automated documentation, the visibility message, largely automating the CMDB, all of these things were.
Yeah, I remember when Joe came to me and he was like, threat actors can surveil and recon and understand how an organization is set up and exploit those vulnerabilities or weaknesses. But the defenders, the IT operators, don't have that same level of visibility. And that was the question: is why doesn't this exist?
It's so frustrating.
Right? And we sought to give them that visibility, to be able to give them the same tools so that they can actually properly defend against those threat actors. And as we were interviewing our potential partners, the question that always came up was, "Can you tell me what changed?" Right. Can you tell me what changed? Like, yeah, we can actually. Based upon the fact that we are documenting every day, we're capturing that information, we can tell you the delta. We can tell you who or what was changed that created that vulnerability or that weakness.
And out of that was born the timeline, which is a killer app feature in Liongard that people who've used it, they were, and Vin and our early stage developers developed this ability to rewind time. And it was just like, whoa, when it just materialized. That was the jaw dropper when we went to conferences. Yeah. People said, "You can rewind time. You can go backwards." Yeah,
I remember our first show. We gave away a DeLorean because it was very appropriate.
Back to the future.
Back to the future.
Wow.
A little model DeLorean.
Couldn't afford the real one.
That's fair. So you guys were like leveling the playing field for the good guys, then, right?
It's a good
right.
It's a good point. Like they have everything stacked against them. It usually says, it only takes one mistake. I like to think of it less pessimistically. You have many opportunities to disrupt the attacker. And that's the thing is have multiple levels of shields. The concepts of defense in depth, zero trust, all these things speak to the same thing, right? Like, make it hard. Don't make it easy for a threat actor. So how do you do that? So we wanted to expose that.
Right. And you already mentioned that, but were there any moments early on where you thought, we are on to something bigger here?
Actually, when one of our advisors dropped an F-bomb during a meeting and said, "This is a really big deal," dropping a little extra word in there. It was. We got it through others when they looked at it, and when we went to the early stage conferences, and people their eyes just got big and their jaw dropped, and you're like, this is kind of a big deal, guys. We're seeing the reactions.
Yeah, through our advisors, you always hear sometimes the big ass spreadsheet problem. So that's what we noticed, and we connected the dots. When people were like, "How are you documenting today?" Lots of form fields, lots of things, and what it clicked for me is after when we pulled up someone's manual form fields and their CMDB and our automated one, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay. This is so much more valuable when the data is fresh, it's up to date, it's not manually keyed in, right? Like, why were we doing that? Like, literally typing in things, right? And we couldn't rely on it. And when the CTOs that were reviewing it were like, yeah, that's what I've been asking my engineers to do, but they're not doing it. And yeah, appropriately so. You don't hire engineers to write documentation.
Yeah, of course.
You hire them to resolve things.
Well, I love to say this to a lot of the leaders. I said, none of your level 3 engineers, when they were in middle school or high school, said, one day I'm going to fill out form fields in my career. No one said that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that is an injustice to advanced knowledge, and the reality is that all of that should be automated. Those experts need to be getting to insights. They need to be leveling up the business. They need to move on with their lives instead of filling out form fields and doing just horrible work.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories at the very beginning was I wish I remember the name of the MSP, but they shared with us that they would get up every Saturday morning, like at 7 a.m. and they would log into the CMDB and they'd make sure, it's a smaller MSP, they were manually updating, making
Called
sure
it a
everything was
documentation party.
Yeah, they would document this thing between 7 a.m. and noon while their kids slept.
Right.
But that after they adopted Liongard, they're like, wait, I have that time back.
Yeah.
Like, that's super invaluable. Like, that's what we were able to give back.
Yeah. What would you do with that extra time?
Yeah.
Wow. All right, so you guys already mentioned some customer feedback, but were there any that meant the most for you personally? And are there any customer stories or use cases that just come to mind?
I mean, Vin's been interviewing them most, but I'll tell you that the things that I've heard from our partners, it's basically saying, finally. Like, you guys listen to us. That's what I hear the most is like, okay, you guys finally connected this and you're doing the thing. So it's almost like we've been waiting for you to get there. That's the sense I get from a lot of partners. I don't know, Vin, whether they're excited, but they've been wanting us to get there.
Yeah. I think that resonates because at the end of every email, I try to sign a thank you for being along the journey with us, because this is a journey. IT is a massive amount of learnings and amount of data, and to understand what's important to any one persona at any given time. Right. And it's something that we learn along the way. One of my favorite quotes from a recent partner is like, they signed up about maybe 8 months after we met them, and they onboarded, and they're like, I should have listened to you earlier. So I'm like, especially when you're getting started as an MSP, or you're just putting in best practices. Joe and I always joke, we want to make sure that the 3 main, or maybe it's 2 now, right? The 3 main platforms that you roll out is going to be your PSA, your RMM, and Liongard. Right? or maybe even...
The reality is, I love to say, look, the journey begins with first understanding what you're managing and protecting.
Sure.
And that's the most important thing. If you're called in as the expert, how do you claim to be the expert with logging in manually to all this stuff? I mean, come on. It's 2025. You need to put a platform in place that gives you that visibility. It needs to be AI enabled. It needs to be rapid. You need to be able to see into things without going to command line. And that's the reality. That's the future we live in, and that's the one that we're enabling. Right. And that's, to me, the journey begins. And selfishly, I might say the journey begins with Liongard. But really, the journey begins with observing and orienting. Yeah. This is an old Air Force concept. Right. Observe and orient, decide and act. And we see a lot of people focusing on flipping bits to decide and act before they even observe and orient. And so to me, have a good understanding. And when you start to really understand how infrastructure is set up, you can make recommendations that are astronomically simple that change the way that business operates. And it's hard to describe, but we've been consultants and working with end customers at every level, from the smallest business to government scale, enterprise scale, environments, and then MSPs and MSSPs of every size and SIs. And what we see is when they have the knowledge to understand what's there, and then make the simple decision that changes the business to a better trajectory, man, it's unbelievable. That customer sticks with them forever.
Right.
They don't want complexity. They don't want the latest and greatest a lot of times. What they want is they want to conduct business seamlessly.
Right.
And they wanted to know how to do things like create a pivot report in Excel, which is what I tell a lot of folks. The end customer doesn't know even how to use the tech that they have well enough. And if you can spend that time to help them use it better and talk less about fires and, we solved these tickets, it's like, well, help me change the world. Like, how can you do that?
So essentially, just get Liongard, you'll be good. Right.
I mean, we are the founders. We'll be a little bit biased, but if we're being unbiased, is at the very least, you better have strong observability. Right. You better know what you're managing and protecting. And if you don't, at this day and age, with the way threat actors are operating and the way that tech is so complex, don't even include a threat actor. Just the complexity. Mistakes will happen, and you have to be able to look across it and be aligned as a team. Because when you have more than one person involved, boy, it just starts to get interesting. And when you have a team, and then you have a customer and a customer's customer,
I think one of the common themes around this is also time. Right. Not only you're saving time, but your engineers are saving time in terms of being able to diagnose things, but being able to roll back something, understanding what happened previously. All those things are very important. That's the only thing you can't buy, right, as an MSP. And you want to make sure that you're running efficiently. And so that does definitely help, just being able to arrive at conclusions, arrive at what to do quickly. That's very important.
Right, yeah. Like, what a journey. So if you had to sum up the first 10 years of Liongard in one word, what would it be and why?
Ooh.
That's a hard question.
One word? I've been known to be very loquacious and verbose. one word. Then! No.
Why don't we have this already?
That's, I think it's demystify.
Demystify.
Yeah, demystify the startup journey, demystify growth, demystify IT, demystify security. It's really just, we got to make it easy. And it's just, it doesn't have to be hard. I mean, that to me that always kind of stands out. It's the why of why, I was theorizing about Liongard. Why does it have to be so hard? Like, that's like, can it be simple? I don't know. I don't know what you're...
I guess my one word would be, well, no, first of all, it's very fast. 10 years goes by really fast, especially when you look at my kids. My kids were all in elementary school. They were just, when we first started, now they're heading to college, so it's been fast.
Mine are about to head to college.
That's kind of more the personal one word. I guess the professional one word would probably be learning. I mean, it's been 10 years of constant learning. There's not been a day where a problem has presented itself, an issue, where it's unique. And I try to remind our team that it's like, it's better than being bored, right? There's a new issue that came in. There's something that we've learned. There's something that we are going to unpack. There's something that we're going to help make better. And I think that's purpose that we can put out in this world. And I think that's worth it. That's worth doing.
It's our first core value. Listen and learn.
Right. You guys have been doing this for 10 years and you still think it's interesting. It's really inspiring to see. It
is. And we even have time to go to the gym. I'm going to be 50 this year, so I've committed to being fit. Somebody else is going to be 50 this year too.
There you go. All right, so let's talk about like the shift from visibility to action. You talked about the idea of moving from visibility to control. What does that mean in the context of the new LiongardIQ?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the OODA loop, which is the Air Force concept of observe, orient, decide, and act. And what's important is after you've observed and you've oriented, how do we prioritize all this information? You then make a decision to say, hey, this is the thing I'm going to do, and then you're going to act. And so what we want to do is figure out to the largest degree, where in the past we were focused on the visibility side, we're seeing our partners say, okay, now you've shown me what's wrong, you shown me what I need to do, how can you help me get to the end game? Sometimes those things we'll do natively. Other times we want to send that signal into the existing automation platform that our partners or end customers have. And so those are the ways that we're thinking about it, is really think about the AI, really think about the context that we have to then support observability and orientation to then drive that decision to say, this is what needs to get, this patch needs to be applied now, or this MFA needs to be activated right now because we see an attack happening, and that's the CEO. And we all know what happens when sometimes we have some CEOs that call into a service desk and make demands. Unfortunately, sometimes the service desk will turn off MFA under pressure, and this is the beginning of the data breach that's about to happen. And to me, that's the ability to catch that, then see it, make the decision to act, make the decision to call that CEO to go, look, I'm so sorry, but we're going to have to activate. Maybe simple click of the button, right? And then it activates. That's resiliency.
Right.
And that's being left of boom, and we call that really bracketing the boom. You want to close in on the blast radius, and you really need to be operating left of boom, and that's a great pair with strong managed detection and response. And when you can pair those together, then the threat actor has a tough time. So to me, it's that signaling, both native but also signaled to external platforms. We don't pick winners. We're like Switzerland on this matter. We largely want to solve this problem for the ecosystem.
Of course.
Yeah, I've got a family version of the OODA loop. And we call it awareness, mindfulness, and intent. Right? So we've started with awareness and making sure that you know what's going on in your environment. How are you minding on a daily basis? But intent is, what action am I going to take with the information that I have so far, right? And I think we need to be able to empower that. Our MSP partners have actually been the ones that pushed us there in the very early days. They're like, can you just automate this action for us? Because there's so much surface area and very few engineers, and then very few engineers with the knowledge to properly do something. And they're like, well, can I write certain rules to be able to take those actions? And I think that it goes back to time. It's that time period between something changing and the intent to change it and to fix it, right? To be able to have the ability to fix it properly.
Right.
And I think that Liongard is being asked to push to that envelope, right? And to be able to make sure that we enable MSPs to react and to remediate and harden something before something happens. When you see that a door is unlocked, lock it, right? That's kind of the basic.
BitLocker is not enabled. Enable it. Right.
Yeah.
MFA is not enabled. Enable it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also we have to think about this, and I have to drop it. The agentic future, because when you think about AI and you think about what's happening, context is king. We have to have the strongest context we can if we want to support agentic type outcomes where we can drive towards automation that might be just resilience that happens automatically. And we call it the managed attack surface, which is how do we think about infrastructure that just self-hardens, and if drift happens, it self-heals. Right. That's a future that I know is doable, and it's something that we can work towards, and that's what we're trying to get all of infrastructure to. It's I call it to get there we had to do what Terraform did. If you're familiar with Terraform, it allows you to go from JSON to a desired state, and we theorized, well, what if we could reverse that? What if we could take infrastructure and turn it into data, then read off of it, and then drive the actions, right, eventually. And so these are the vision is coming complete, and I feel very strongly that we're accelerating, and we're going to, everyone's going to see something special when we launch, and I think it's going to start to become really clear how we're bringing that 10x ecosystem of other vendors around us that have integrated to us, or us integrated to them, and we're driving an outcome jointly, because it's going to take a village to really get to a next level. With AI, with all the changes happening.
We can't not mention our ecosystem partners that help us, and many of them out there leverage Liongard's day-to-day data to be able to present reports and everything else for their end customers, and we wouldn't be here without them. I think one of those things that with this MSP ecosystem is that it's open arms, and everyone wants to integrate with each other. We're I don't know, competitive, but we collaborate. So it's a great place to build Liongard. for folks that are managing IT at that scale.
It's a good community. And you guys have talked about some of the cool features that are coming with the LiongardIQ. So LiongardIQ introduces real-time alerts, AI-driven insights, and remediation guidance. What's the core problem it's solving for today's operators and security teams?
Ben, you wanna take that first? You're in the depths of the product team in driving this change.
Yeah, it's just like I said at the beginning. I guess it's just understanding, using AI to help interpret the actions that need to be taken, to understand the asset at any level,
right,
and to make it simple to understand. I think that's going to be critical for the level of data that's out there, from managed storage devices to a light bulb that's plugged into some network somewhere, to what are the maze of conditional access policies that create MFA enforcement? Like, how do you understand all this? You have to be able to take all that information and process it in a way that simplifies it for everybody, and encourages that, like, clear red, yellow, green check marks, X marks, like, take action here.
Right.
And I think that's what we're doing now with LiongardIQ, is bringing that intelligence forth. And all of the, we're starting with our engineers. We're not going to forget about those folks that are going in and digging for that. So we're working to create AI tools for them to surface more data, but we're trying to bring more people into the fold. And more of the conversations that I'm having with those technical implementers, the guardians of Liongard,
right,
who are taking care of, I'm asking them, who else is using this data? How else can you bring them into the platform? What do you need? Do you need reporting? Do you need some sort of specific metrics? I think that's super important to get everybody into the fold.
Right, and following that, I got a question for you, Ben. You've been instrumental in building a lot of the powers, or a lot of what powers a LiongardIQ. Can you walk us through some of the features you're most excited about and how they came to life?
Well, it starts with the asset inventory. Right. It cannot happen without taking all the bits of data across all the 80 plus inspectors and systems that we have, and being able to connect the dots between them. The identities that are created from the hundreds of accounts across those systems, the devices across all the host names and serial numbers that you see across those individual systems, and making sense of it. Once we land all that and are able to connect the dots between them, then we can just say, okay, well, you have a device here. It surfaces in your network. What is the warranty information? And for an identity, what is the MFA status? Have they logged in? Is it dormant? Things that are relatively basic blocking and tackling things, but it's really difficult to get at. If you think about it, at the end of the day, you're logging into multiple systems and getting fragments of each one of those, right? And yes, I mean, we joke about this, asset inventory for most folks are one system. Right. They go, oh, well, if it's not in my EDR, it doesn't exist. Or if it's not in my RMM, it doesn't exist. And that's a gaping hole of your awareness of what systems are in your network, because it's going to take multiple systems to be able to collect that information. And so we're doing some of the very hard work to connect some of those dots, and then layering AI on top of it to process that information.
Right.
And so we're doing that at the individual asset level, which is an identity, device, software, etc., up to an actual system type, across my firewalls, across my email providers, across the entire stack for an environment, and then all the way up to the service provider level. Right. And so we're working to bubble up that aura of awareness, and so that you can mind it properly.
Yeah, it's funny. Like when you were talking, it reminded me of some of the conversations I've had where I've described the cyber asset inventory as I call it, and it's not your grandpa's old asset inventory. And when I describe it, they're like, "Okay, you're probably getting the users from Microsoft 365." I'm like, "Yeah, but you have Active Directory, you have Duo, you might have one login, you might have Okta, you might have this. We're putting that together." And then that's when it clicks. They're like, "Wait. you're going to dedupe, and they always say the deduplicate all the data from all of the inspectors, and you're going to, and then they're like, yeah, we're gonna put it together, and it's in this, and then I show it to them, they're like, oh man, like it's just kind of like this, it kind of clicks,
right.
And it's like you're gonna make it easy. This is like, oh, there's all this insight, and you can start to imagine once you start to see users and device with that kind of security enrichment to the right to say, Will, I can tell that you're privileged. You're not privileged in Microsoft 365 or this, but you are in Active Directory. And we've bubbled that all up to the top level and says, yeah, he does have privileges. And on top of that, this account is dormant, let's say.
Right.
And you're able to start to see this type of enrichment right to the right of all of this information. You start to realize, wait a second, I was thinking an inventory was just a device list with warranty information and serial numbers. Okay. We've all anyone in IT and security has filled out a spreadsheet if you go back to the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and you felt pretty good about putting all of that into Excel. And if you've been there, you know what I mean by grandpa's old asset inventory. And you're laughing right now because people always laugh and they're like, oh my God, I remember that. Like fast forward to 2025. Like let's put an end to that. Yeah. But now let's put enrichment to the right of it. Right. Every answer you needed should be right there. It should be, and if not, you ask the AI question. Hey, is X, Y, and Z enabled? And that's how it should be, right? And that's the vision that Vin's been focusing on within the product team, working with Callan, working with the rest of the team to really deliver. And it's exciting. Like I watch the internal developments, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, and we're able to accelerate now. Yeah, the hard part of fetching all the data and making sure that it's in place. It's really exciting to be able to build on top of the data that you already have. That's really
we finally realized when our partner said, "You guys have all the data. Just make it easy." This is what they meant. That's what LiongardIQ is.
Yeah,
yeah. Which is what's really cool because if you think about it, AI is artificial intelligence.
Exactly.
There's nothing artificial about this. This is very deliberate intelligence, and that's why IQ makes a lot more sense. Intelligence for the
right. Yeah. And we call it asset intelligence, but largely you want context.
Yeah.
Right. CEO calls you up from an end customer. You just want to know everything about what's going on in that CEO's world. You want to see their device. Why can't they just be available? And why can't it be real time?
Right.
Why can't it be always up to date? And can it not have all the answers so I can look like a hero when I take that phone call? That's really not much to ask at this stage. Yeah. It is 2025. We should have this. So let's go deliver that. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Looking forward to this LiongardIQ. So how would you say that you set apart? Like how does LiongardIQ set Liongard apart from other solutions in the market?
How does it set it apart? Yeah, I think about the cyber asset inventory as something that is cloud to endpoint, completely automated, AI enabled. Right, this does not exist out in the market with the depth and breadth of integrations that Liongard has. It's largely built based on the designs of some of the best experts that manage IT and security at scale because we learn from our partners. And we have some crazy smart partners. So it's all of our partners. These are service providers managing into 50, hundreds, thousands of end customers. Right. They are managing this infrastructure like cattle. It's crazy. And at that scale, when we understand what they need, we start to build these simplifications and automations. So it's really answering to what our partners have asked us for, and that's what to me. That's just exciting because we're listening and learning.
Yeah. For me, the AI that we put on top of this is sitting on top of a mountain of data. That you don't see behind the scenes, and we prefer at this point that you don't have to dig
the
through
data
that.
lake. If you're ever saying the data lake,
right?
That's what we mean.
Yeah, and
it's a mountain.
It's a mountain, and to be able to access that quickly and reliably, it's the differentiator for me is the fact that all other platforms are going to rely on some system that required some manual input somewhere. And you've heard the term garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
And if you're going to put AI on top of something that is relying on stale, outdated data, that's kind of dangerous, to be honest. So you really need to have it placed upon something that is fresh and up to date.
Right.
Yeah, and having historical reference is much more important as well.
I mean, the other thing that I would say is we are all in on understanding what the ecosystem needs.
Right.
And so we pride ourselves on not navel gazing, meaning obsessing our own solution, but also understanding, our customers typically have this other solution deployed. So we're always looking for, we call it the better together outcome, we call it our 10x ecosystem. And we know that as a community, if we're working together with the endpoint detection response players, MDR players, with the endpoint management players, with the IT service management platforms or PSAs, all of this starts to come together and you start to realize, okay, what the buyer and the end customer really needed was all of this to work together.
Right.
And that's something that's just in our DNA, that we understand that need, and that bar is so high and so difficult to deliver. But that's what we know because we've operated on the other side when we've demanded vendors to integrate, and we're like, why can't you guys just figure it out? And we get that. And we want to be able to say, yeah, we figured it out. We worked with so-and-so, and
Right.
we made this happen. And whenever we delight that way, when their other investment became powerful, just like the investment in Liongard, that's when we know. And that's something uniquely Liongard that I still don't see very often out in the market. I see a lot more focus only inwardly. Like I feel like we have a balanced approach of inward innovation paired with understanding what value are these other players bringing, so we can put it together and deliver this maximal value, which is a high resolution picture.
10x.
10x, baby.
We have to say 10x.
10x, there you go, baby. What that means to us is magnitude level.
Right.
So once you get to the 10x, what happens next? You go another 10x.
Exactly.
And keep going.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
Man. All right. So we've gone through the founder's journey. We have talked about what we've done or what Liongard is doing now. Let's look ahead. What's the future of Liongard? So as you look to the next decade, what excites you the most about Liongard's future?
Vincent's head looking like mine.
Yeah.
Maybe. He's well on the journey. Skynet. No, we don't want Skynet. No, it's interesting. Like, we're moving really fast right now.
Yeah.
I was at RSA and in San Francisco, and one of our original salesperson, Sean Saylor, said, I want to ride in the Waymo, the driverless car. And it was crazy. The experience of just seeing a driverless car show up, the experience was the initials were on the light on top. The doors unlocked when we came to it. We sat inside. It talked to us. It was a really good experience. And I'm like, it got me tingly. I'm like, we're living in the future.
Yeah.
And that's what I think about is how do we, it's going to look so different. 10 years from now, it's even hard to imagine because everything is changing every week. Like, we're in that internet era, like going back to 1997 to 2005 when things just changed every week. And I feel the same thing right now. It's changing every week, and it's all... And people are getting tired of hearing about AI.
Yeah.
But the reality is AI is just like, it's becoming fuel that's driving all this innovation that ultimately is just like Waymo, driverless cars are driven based on vision and AI. But you see the outcome being a driverless car. And that's what it's crazy.
I think that's along the lines. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the speed in which AI is actually being adopted and rolling out and what it's capable of doing. And it's interesting, we grew up in a world before the internet, right? Our kids grew up with the internet. They've always had information, knowledge at their fingertips. And now this generation is living with AI, and they will never know a day that AI did not exist. And so if I fast forward 10 years from now, if I was a 10-year-old having born today, 10 years from now, I don't have a user interface. I don't. The AI should tell me what's going on, right? Like it's kind of interesting. Would you log into Liongard, or is Liongard just ubiquitously there? To be able to tell you, your doors and locks are secure. You are secure. That's, at the end of the day, you just want peace of mind, right? You want to know that your environment is protected and that there's not misconfigurations in place and that a threat actor is actually being blocked and actions are being taken on your behalf when things are happening. And that artificial intelligence can move at that speed to go, something's out of place, let's put it back. Something is changing that shouldn't be. Someone's trying to log in and possible travel. That should be blocked immediately. Like that, those are the types of things where it shouldn't require a lot of this manual effort. And so as we're moving into that future, it's going to be really, really different. I think, I don't know if we're going to be staring at our screens much anymore.
We're going to be using the mouse as much.
We'll be interfacing with our agents. We'll be interfacing with each other. We'll be interfacing. Your agent's going to talk to my agent.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that it's going to be
the concept of integrations change completely.
All of this data is going to be, used by these agents across this massive data ocean,
which means value creation, which is the game that we're all playing, right? How are we driving value? It's the value chain changes completely. So if that's the case, we all need to retrain ourselves, everyone, to start thinking about how does that future look like. And I'm an avid reader of Isaac Asimov, so I live in the future. And when we think about what's possible, really it's think about actually leveraging the technology for what it was truly meant for. We're underutilizing the tech we already have. It's right underneath our own nose. And what happens when we actually now take the time to not worry so much about managing the tech and actually now using the tech for what it was built to do, and think of the innovation potential. To me, it's innovation at just hyperspace, like speed, like it's intense, and we're going to see speed of change is going to increase even faster, which means that, we all need to be mentally prepared that things will change at a pace that we've never seen. And hopefully that excites people. It can scare.
It can be scary.
It can scare you too. But I think that's what's happening. And we just need to then realize that for those that are the technologists, we have to just make it easier and simpler, not complex. That's the goal, because you can get carried away and then make it just messed up and complex. But it does take sometimes 10 years.
Yes.
So it's going to take 10 years for AI to really actualize.
And I'm not insinuating that it will take away all of our jobs. What we will do is you still need a human to call it out if it's wrong. So.
I mean, it's a better experience for the humans, the operators, the IT experts, security experts. I mean, that's largely what we're trying to get to, so that the end customer can do it. Oh man.
You guys talked about like the constant change, right? So what trends or challenges do you see on the horizon for MSPs, and how is Liongard preparing to address them?
And the trend that I'm seeing is a convergence that we're seeing around IT and security. That's the trend that I'm seeing the most. We're seeing it in our larger, fast-moving service providers that work with Liongard, is that they are actually doing both sides, left and boom, right of boom, and they're also moving up market, and they're blurring the lines between who they service. And when they service into mid-market and enterprise customers, they're doing what's referred to as co-management, but a lot of times it's an MSSP operation. And so when I think about the service provider challenge and opportunity, is what do you do in that converged future? Because ultimately the buyer wants simplicity. They don't want 80 different relationships. They want a converged relationship, usually called a one throat to choke. But, more kindly, they want a simpler experience. They want to talk to somebody that's their trusted advisor that doesn't point to somebody else.
Right.
That they'll say, I've got you. We'll take care of this. And so knowing that that's the experience, the opportunity for MSPs, MSSPs, and SIs is really, how do you think about that converged outcome? How do you simplify your customer's experience? How do you think about having conversations with your customer that says, hey, who are your top 3 customers? And what do they need? Start thinking about the value chain rather than thinking of yourself as a mechanic taking care of technology. Right. And that's the challenge, because you're going to have to up level. Because the AI will help us get through some of the basic stuff. The just the nonsense, and the automation will do that. So even basic automation. So as you level up, you can start to get to a third order type of value proposition to your customer and go, hey, let me show you how to use Copilot properly with Microsoft 365. And that's a different type of like value proposition. Like, is that a training company? It's like, no, you're providing technology value to the customer.
Yeah, it's just not going to be the switches and the hardware and everything else. It's for me, and this is a trend that I've noticed in the last few years, and I still think it's going to be a massive challenge for MSPs going forward, is the governance of data, especially for their customers, and especially with AI. You've got a whole bunch of customers probably when OpenAI was released, pushed all their company files up into this bot to have it, extract information for them inadvertently, right? And the role of the MSP, the IT service provider, has to go beyond just break fix type of things. It is the trusted advisor to say, no, you shouldn't do that, and this is why. Let me explain this to you, right? Let me teach you how to properly leverage technology and protect your data and your privacy at the same time. And I think the fact that there's so much technology out there, there's SaaS platforms, there's some brand new thing popping up every single minute, and somebody wants to try it, and they want to upload it there, and they want to create an account, and they want to know. So that's the attack surface. There's so much that's happening, and for an MSP to be able to keep up with all of that, there's no way they can do it manually. So they have to figure out a way. They have to have something in place that is able to collect that information and recognize how they can protect it. Right. And I think that at the end of the day, it comes back down to how are you protecting your data, how are you protecting your end customers' data. Right. I think that will continue to proliferate.
I think the propeller heads, and I consider myself one, and so does Vincent. When you think about the reasons why we got into technology, one of the things that we love is we love seeing change. We love seeing innovation. Yeah. And I believe the technologists, the service providers, the MSPs, MSSPs, SIs, they're at the point of spear of where the change happens. So they're living in the tornado, right? That's where we all are. And you have to slow that tornado down and translate it for your customers. It's a really interesting, like it's exciting. It's also like, oh my God, it changed again, right? And I think that's this learning thing that Vincent said is really important. You're in a rapid state of learning and then adapting, right? You got to experiment and evolve is what we talk about. That becomes faster, and that means that you have to stay up to date. You cannot sit still. So that pace is re-accelerating. I feel like we've been always accelerating, but like the last, I'd say 2 years has seen a really rapid acceleration yet again. Right. So we're back to that internet boom era thing again. Yeah. The game is changing so rapidly. And it's fun. Like, I love it. Like, I live in this zone. But, I can see how it causes stress. Right. It's our job to make it simple.
Of course. Yeah. Awesome. And for MSPs and MSSPs who haven't experienced the new Liongard yet, what would you say is the best way to get started?
Best way to get started, go to liongard.com and get a demo, do a discovery call with us, catch up with us at an event. Right. Connect with us, connect with Vincent or myself on LinkedIn. We love chatting up with the experts just to see what they're doing, because we learn from all of the folks that are out there, the community, right? And we like to say that it's their ideas that make our platform better, because we learn from everyone. Like we're not the ones that have we had an idea, but man, we had no idea like we got ourselves into when we did this back in 2015, and I love every bit of it. The 10 years has been amazing, and I'm thankful and grateful to everyone who's contributed to it.
Yeah, it's been really great people that have gone through these doors. Yeah. For me, I'd suggest we're at a lot of industry shows. Come by and visit our booth. There's going to be somebody there that's going to demo something for you. And I would encourage folks to kind of join us on our monthly feature update. It can give you a taste of how quickly and how we move on new features. And as Joe said, there's new things coming all the time. even though it's incremental, one of our core values is visible progress. So it is being able to showcase that and celebrate those along the way. And if you want to know, we're not sitting there. We're not heavily, invested by some third party where we're just sitting on our laurels. We are moving as much as we possibly can, and you can see that and you can witness that if you join us on some of these webinars that we put together.
And I would also encourage everyone, reach out to Michelle Accardi, our CEO. Reach out to Callan Sapien, who runs products and technology. Reach out to David, who's running revenue. Reach out to Steph, who's doing the marketing, and reach out to Mayank on our finance side. We're all engaged, and you will get a response. We care. We love the community, and we just love it when folks reach out to us, and we want to chit chat, get on Zoom or Teams, and have at it. Or see in person if we can.
Cool. So this is the last question. So if someone's on the fence considering sticking with the old platform, what would you say to them?
Well, if you want to operate on your grandpa's old asset inventory and operate in the dark, look, life's too short. Right? Life is way too short. So I think about growth, profit, and sanity. Those are the three things I think about. We have GPS for our cars. We don't have GPS for our service providers and our technologists. And when we think about running a technology business, you need to drive growth, profit, and keep your sanity at the same time. That is a hard balance. And this is something that Liongard intrinsically gets because we understand this challenge. We've lived it. Our team has lived it authentically. Our CEO has lived it authentically. And so with that in mind, you're talking to folks that just get it. And we care about it, and we're working on it. We're not perfect, but we continue to improve. Ben, I don't know what you have to say on this topic.
Yeah, I think I go back to I'm a big data nerd. Like, I like to have all that information, but like what you'll see when you come on board with Liongard is that we're just trying to kind of just recap, simplifying that information. And I think that the sooner you get started collecting that information, the sooner you'll have a history and an understanding of how your systems have drifted over time, how they're configured, and then you start developing a muscle for leveraging technology and automation. And it's really ironic. Sometimes folks will say, I don't have the time to automate something. And I'm like,
that's the problem.
That seems to be like, you make the investment, it's going to be worth it over time. And you'll see the difference when you're able to. It goes back to a piece of advice that I was given. You hire people who are experienced, right? Not for the easy times. You hire them for the difficult times, right? They're there. They're high paid. They're there because that's when you need them the most. Liongard's kind of like that. It'll run. It'll have it. It's in the background. But when you need Liongard, it'll be there. You'll be able to look back and go, what was that DNS? What were the licenses? What was the reporting from last month? And that's the times when you need it. And I think that
cyber insurance is asking whether you set up properly.
Exactly. When you're doing that audit and you're having to find those things, that's when you need it. So the sooner you get started, the better it is for you in the long term.
And the proof's in the pudding. Why is it that the fastest growing MSPs and MSSPs use Liongard? Talk to us. We'll point you at some of them. They'll tell you. They'll tell you why we help them scale. Because life is too short to fill out form fields. Life is too short for nonsense. You need to balance life along with providing value. And this is something that Liongard does for those service providers, and it's something we believe in. You don't lose hair like us. Just don't.
All right. So it's been an amazing journey hearing how far Liongard has come and where it's headed. Before we wrap up, what final thoughts would you want to share with the Liongard community as we get ready for the official launch of LiongardIQ?
Get ready to 10x. We're about ready to make another magnitude leap. I'm telling you, it's interesting to see all of it coming together. I say that we're landing a lot of planes. He's in the middle of it, air traffic controlling a lot of it. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's here. We're finally we're making it simple, and I can't wait to see it all. Just see the value happening, in the customer base.
I think it's a team sport. IT and security. It started with the two of us, and we grew a team, and everyone's trying to help and build it together. We opened it up to the ecosystem. Everyone's contributing, coming along with us on the journey, and I think that it's exciting. I mean, it's just being able to work together to solve this big problem. Like in product management, you fall in love with the problem, right? You fall in love with the problem. Everyone needs to focus on how do we solve this together. And I think that we're kind of the platform that does that. We bring all these sources together. We bring all these people together. We bring all these minds together to solve this problem we've been struggling for years. And I'm hoping for a future that does that we work together that helps to remediate that.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you said, because it's the same reason why Michelle Accardi's here.
Yeah,
she ran a massive scale MSP, and that's the kind of scale of knowledge and DNA that is representative of our team, and that's why we believe that this complexity, it just needs to be simplified, and we just get it. Right, the exec team gets it. The leaders within the company, the folks you interact with when you're dealing with support, we get it, and we want to make it easier for you. We really did.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Thank you for coming to this podcast and talking to us, and thank you for listening.
You did well, man.
Thank you. That's great. LiongardIQ launches this July 2025. It's more than a new product. It's the future of operational intelligence and attack surface control. Whether you've been with Liongard for 10 years or you're just getting to know Liongard, now it's the time to see what's next. Joe and Vin, thank you so much for your time.